Hello, this is Brighton TV and this is a match preview for Brighton vs Wolves. And yesterday versus Arsenal, from the first minute we controlled the whole of the first half in my opinion. Players like Moy, Dunk, Webster, all the players as a whole, they controlled the game versus Arsenal. We knew what we were doing and it wasn't like we're scared. It's not like we're parking the bus and it's not like them times where you see the fluke wins versus the Big Six. That was a well-deserved win. We controlled the whole game and that's what matters. And in the second half, early parts of it, we looked a bit fragile, and when they scored their first goal, I thought, oh, this might mess up. We might play a lot worse and Potter might look for a draw or something like that. But we didn't. We continued. And even after they scored their second, which was ruled out by VAR for offside, I got to say, what the team did, that definitely boosted them, since we played so well. From the strikers back to the goalie, everyone played amazing, and that's what matters. Since we had 9 shots versus Arsenal at the Emirates, that's our first win at the Big Six away from home in our Premier League history, and that's really good, since recently we've been playing so well, got a lot of possession, and we just haven't been getting the results. And if you look to Leicester, where we had a lot more possession than them, the problem with that is that we didn't have any shots on target whatsoever. This time with 9, that's a lot more, which is well deserved and smart by what Potter's doing, since you can have all the possession in the world. If you don't shoot, you're not going to score. That's where Potter's learned, I think, from the Leicester game, where we had a lot of possession, but we didn't shoot on target and we didn't score. Now with 9 shots on target, that's so good, so much better for us. And also, not just that, I've seen recently, not Brighton fans, but opposition fans saying that even though Brighton have had a lot of possession against these bigger teams, it hasn't really mattered to anything compared to last season. But if you do compare it, if you look at teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, and all them teams like United as well, City, and I know a lot of them saying, oh, we lost 3 of them 4 games. Yes, we did lose 3 of them 4 games, but last season we did the same thing. We lost 3 of them 4 games, but this time we had more style and we ended up picking more points, since we got a win versus Arsenal instead of just a draw, and that's what I think was really good. And then you have players like Matt Ryan, who had saved us so many times this season. And versus Arsenal, yet again, time after time, when he was needed, he ended up saving us from going behind, and that was key. Ryan is an amazing goalie for us, and that's why he played immense. And then you look at our back 4. You had Steven Alzate, who's not a right back. He's a centre mid, but he can play anywhere, and Potter must love having a player like Steven Alzate. He can play anywhere across the pitch, and he does his job really well. He kept their players quiet, and he ended up, I remember one chance in the second half, it was Aubameyang, one-on-one Alzate versus Aubameyang, and Alzate ended up tackling, blocking the shot from Aubameyang, who, if it wasn't blocked, would have definitely went in, and that was key. Alzate played amazing. And then you have players like Webster and Dunk, whose partnerships definitely have played so well. They know what they're doing. They're ending up doing better passes. They do so much good key passes. Them two really well, and Webster did get a goal. And then Dan Burn, who I know I criticised as well for playing left back, because he's not a left back, he's a centre back. But recently, versus Liverpool, versus Arsenal, some of the hardest games of the season, he's done it so well. He ends up keeping their wingers to so little touches, and that's what is key from Dan Burn. He knows what he's doing, and he was the reason for Webster's goal, for heading it back across into the box. And then you get the midfield of the midfield four of Gross, Moy, Stevens and Proper, all of them definitely did help control the midfield. They knew what they were doing. They created so many chances, and with that penalty shout where it actually turned out where it was outside the box, that was a very smart pass from Stevens to Aaron Connolly, who ended up getting fouled outside the box. And that's just the passes which we have from our midfielders now. They know what they're doing, and especially thanks to the strikers like Neil Maupay and Aaron Connolly. Both of them, their link-up play is amazing. They're so young, they're really quick as well, and that's where Connolly and Maupay, they were exploiting that against Arsenal. They used their pace to beat them, and Aaron Connolly, at some stages, he'd end up going through 1, 2, sometimes even 3 defenders and got a shot off, and he never scored, but he did create quite a few chances from that for himself, and that's what I think is key from players like Connolly and Maupay. And versus Wolves, last season we took 4 points off Wolves, and that was really key in our survival. And that's the thing which is going to be harder, I think, for this season than last season, is that Wolves, they struggle to break down teams that defend, and that's why we got so many points off them last season. This season, I think it will be harder for us because we play more expansive. They probably have a more chance of actually getting something, since they didn't score versus us last season. But this season, since we're playing more expansive football, I think it'll be a lot more end-to-end, and I think Wolves will end up scoring a goal or so against us. And obviously, you can't just look at the table to think, oh, this is good, this is bad. Since it's not that far off that we're away from United. I think it's only 3 points away from United in 6th. But if you look to the relegation zone, that's 4 points away. So there's so much flexibility in the table at this stage. And if you compare it to last season, where we had a similar amount of points, but we were in a much higher position, the league was nowhere near as I'd say fragmented, where everyone's everywhere. It's not like that. This season it is. One week you might be in the top half, the next week you might think you're in a relegation battle, and that's why in the early stages of the season you can't just think of relegation or top 4 or Europe or top half. You can't think of that yet because there's so much still to happen in the season. And the lineup that I would play for this match, I play Matty Ryan. As I said, he kept us in the game. So many good saves, and he was really good with the ball at his feet. So Matt Ryan in goal. And I think we should change back to a back 4, simply because I think our defenders are really tired and end up getting more of our genuine fullbacks back to go and play for this match. I think Dunk should be paired up with Shane Duffy, and Duffy, he definitely is a threat from set pieces, and not only that, he will help defend set pieces, which I think is needed. And due to Webster and Dan Burn working their socks off on Thursday for a game on Sunday, is that a bit too early? I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if Duffy was to play, since Duffy isn't a bad player. He's an amazing player of the season last year, and he does get his goals, and he's really good at set pieces. And right back, I think Montoya should play. And in honesty, if this game happened a couple of days later, I would have wanted Alzate. But Alzate played amazing, but he played for quite a while. And since he's so young, I don't think he'll be able to cope playing this many games after each other. So give him some rest, and just put him on the bench or something, since he deserves a well-deserved break. And on the other side, I think it should be Bernardo instead of Dan Burn. And that's simply because Bernardo's back, and I think he will inject a bit of more pace into our defence, which I think is needed versus this Wolves team, who are amazing on the counter. Put Bernardo as well, I think he'll be good. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bernardo played as a left wing back with Dan Burn also slotting in. But even to be fair, under Potter, there's more chance of being struck by lightning than predicting his lineups. And then in midfield, I think there should be a two-man midfield of Proper and Basuma. And I think Basuma might be needed to give more energy to the midfield, more speed to it in case we end up losing the ball and we need to track back. Basuma is faster than Stevens, so I think Basuma playing him instead of Stevens might be an advantage. And also, Proper is playing better now than he was playing 2 weeks ago, so Proper I think should stay. And I think it should be a three-man player after that, 3 attackers. And I think Leandro Trossard in the left wing. And I just think Gross, he's an amazing player, but I think the creators should swap quite frequently so they don't think their positions are definitely set. And not only that, Gross played a long time versus Arsenal, so he'll be more tired. Trossard will have more energy, so play Trossard instead of Gross. And in the number 10 role, Aaron Moy. He played amazing man of the match performance. Our 2 Australians, Moy and Ryan, controlled the game versus Arsenal. So I think Moy should play in the number 10 role. So then he's more central as well and he can end up playing it. So we might play a more wider game to try and change it up versus Wolves. And then right wing, this might be a little bit controversial, but I think Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh should play, and that's mainly because he did score quite a few goals at Holland, and he hasn't really had a look in this season. And also, it's because Connolly, he played fantastic versus Arsenal, but the same reason as Steven Alzate, he played so long, he's going to be tired. Play Jahanbakhsh instead of Connolly. This will be a different threat from the right wing, and if we do play with wingers like that, you might be able to attack in a different way, which might give us more variety, more options for this game. And I think Neil Maupay should play up top, since Maupay, he's more experienced than Connolly, and he did score our winning goal, and he links up with everyone. No matter what team selection Potter puts out, he seems to always link up with everybody else. So I think Maupay is definitely playing so well. So play Maupay, and you could think, oh, what about Murray? But I think Maupay would give something different to Murray. I wouldn't be surprised if Murray played. I could see Murray playing, but Maupay, if it was Maupay or Murray for this game where it will be very end-to-end, I would play Maupay. And my score predictions for this match, as I said, I think it will be very end-to-end, but I think it will be relatively low scoring, a 1-1 draw. I think Shane Duffy will score from us from a set piece. Duffy, if he plays, he'll be massive aerial threat. Duffy to score. And for Wolves, I think Raul Jimenez, he's such a good striker, and you got to be honest, Wolves are one of the best non-Big Six teams out there, and it'll be definitely hard to control their threats, but if we do, that'll be really good from us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Brighton TV and follow us on Instagram.